Hello, everybody. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe. Today, we are doing some spring cleaning. No, not where you have to go through the house. Although some of you I know have done that. Now, I'm not talking about the external. I'm talking about the internal. And more importantly, I am talking about the mind. The mind. That which is a part of that 3 to 4 pound piece of muscle in our head. Cobwebs gather in there. Oh, bad ideas stick, won't go away. Regrets get stuck and get caught up in cobwebs. All right, let's call them cobwebs. What do we call a cobweb? Resentment. Resentments are cobwebs that need to be cleared out. You know what I call resentments is not what I call a resentment is feeling that anger over and over and over again every time you remember a situation, a place, or a person, and the only person who hurts is us, right? That's a cobweb. Also, people that get stuck in our heads, those names that get stuck there that just won't go away, people that are part of our negative mindset committee, the ones that are constantly telling us we're not good enough, even if it's our own thoughts. Cobwebs. Cobwebs. It's spring. It's almost Easter. It's also part of the book. Part of the book of Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. Yes. Clear those cobwebs out. Anger, self-doubt. Absolutely. Yes, those are indeed cobwebs. And what do they do to us? They take up room, for one. We also kind of get used to having them there, right? Yeah. But we do. I love what Matt says. They make us in-betweeners. We're constantly in between projects, meaning we never really start something. We never really finish something. It's our own thinking that's getting in the way, and we can't figure out what it is, and that's a cobweb. We get caught in a loop of, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Yes, I know, Betsy. Those are the twins and triplets that ought not be brought out to the light. Forward 2 steps, back 3. Excellent visual on that. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Whether we intentionally think these things or they get stuck there because of an experience, they're attached to an emotion, they're still there. Well, cobwebs that, as far as I know, I have yet to find a good purpose for a cobweb other than decoration at Halloween. That's about the only thing I can think of is a good purpose for a cobweb. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you, Craig. Glad you're here, Anna. Hello, Ron. We're talking about spring cleaning and those cobwebs in our mind. Oh, I'm loving what Betsy just threw out there. The cobweb. What do you think about that? Your brain is full of those cobwebs. You get resentments and regrets and self-doubt and anger. You're resenting, somebody's living rent-free in your head, right? And they're stuck in the cobweb. Somebody's name, the minute somebody says that name or you see anything associated with that name, boom, that's all you can think about. It's a cobweb. And Betsy's saying we get to be observers of the emotion rather than full participation. That's what it's like when we're able to look at it with detachment. I think that's where you're going with it, Betsy. If there's more, please share. But yes, I don't know about you, but sometimes I get stuck on something. And I continue to get stuck on something. And I continue to get stuck on something. And I am that broken record. Well, enough. Let's clear out those cobwebs. How do we do that? How do we clear out those cobwebs? The first thing I think you have to do is that you have to recognize that they're there. And we can keep it very, very simple. We have a negative mental attitude and a positive mental attitude. So when we are thinking negatives, when we are caught in the ick, as I often call it, I can get more poetic and talk about the morass of the ick, but I won't. The idea is that we recognize it. Now, how can we recognize it? Here's something that I do, something that was taught to me, and it helps when I tell other people to do it, because in the telling, I'm reminded and I'm able to do it myself. It is that simple. And that is that I tell myself, auto-suggestion, I tell myself that I want to recognize the negative thoughts. And I ask for help. I ask for help from the spirit world. I ask for help from the universe. In my situation and my belief system, I ask for help from God. And I simply ask, God, today I would like to be able to recognize the negative thoughts. Recognize them for what they are so that I can get them out in the light, see them as the cobweb that they are, and kick them out and replace it with the positive thought. And sometimes a positive thought, to be honest with you, is, whew, just cleaned you out. There's great power in that, I got to tell you. Great power in being able to go like that and say, whoa, you've been taken care of. Took that broom to you, didn't I? Or I took the dust mop, or I took the rag to you. You know, spring cleaning. Hey, come on. You know, it's time to get serious, right? Serious with a little bit of giggles and laugh at yourself and sense of humor to say, did it again, didn't I? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Okay. Clean it out. Let's go. So what do you recognize as cobwebs? Yes, Betsy, I love what you're offering to us here. The awareness is the first step, catching ourselves before we believe every thought. Well, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that before we believe that thought, kind of makes sense that if it's still stuck in my head and I'm thinking it again, I must believe it. Even if I'm telling myself I don't believe it, it's still there, isn't it? That's a pretty cool thought. I like that. Thank you. Catch yourself before we believe every thought. And I think we can do that if we set ourselves up for success. And what I mean by that is we set ourselves up to say, I want to recognize the negative thoughts as they come so that I can take that broom from spring cleaning today and sweep them out and replace them with the positive thoughts. Oh, goodness. One must be awake first to be conscious. It takes practice. Yes. Yes. Hence the daily Morning Mindset Cafe. We have our daily reminder, and we have our opportunity to practice every day once we're reminded of what it is we're to do. This is interesting. Anna, I've noticed it's very difficult to stay in the moment. I need to repeatedly bring my mind back to this moment. Yes. It is a practice that I greatly admire of those who are able to be in the moment mindful consistently. And what I mean by consistently is honestly every time I see them, and it's in various situations, not just on Blab, not just on text, social media, but in person. You know, I meet them on the street or in a shop. Or in a networking event for business, or I went to an event last night, you know, across town, and I could easily have met somebody like that there, where every time I see them, they are really solid in their foundation of being mindful. I love that. I'd like to be like that. And the only way I know the how of being like that is to understand that it's more than just sitting still and reading the word in front of you. That it is more than just clean out one cobweb and replace it with one thought. It's more than that, isn't it? Hence the Morning Mindset Cafe. It's a morning routine that sets me up for success. Sets me up for accurate thinking. It sets me up to recognize when I'm not in the moment, and to have a plan of action to get me back to it. So as Anna says, she says she needs to bring her mind back to this moment. It's a plan of action. Oh, and with practice, our moments in between the mindfulness get shorter and shorter, right? So think of it this way. I'm just now starting to learn how mindfulness can really have a positive impact on my life. Just now learning what the cobwebs are all about. That the negative attitude is the negative mental attitude. It's the movie that plays in the head when you get a smell, when you hear the music, when you walk outside and see that someone, that neighbor with the lawnmower that wakes you up every single morning at 4:00. It's the traffic. It's the boss. It's from 30 years ago, the speaker that you heard that somehow or other you glommed onto. Yes, that's a word I use, as in cobweb. Sticks in your head in that cobweb that says you are not enough because you're not doing what he or she says you should be doing. Whatever that is, right? That's the movie that plays in the head. All of that is negative mental attitude. Well, you know what? As much as I would love to be able to say, there is a button that you can press. There's a switch in the back of the head. All you got to do is just go, and out goes the negative and in comes the positive. It hadn't happened for me. If somebody has that and it works, they're making a lot of money. Yeah, I think his name is Tony Robbins, and there's others like him. They actually do have a system that works. I just going day by day, getting better and better.
That's funny, an off button.
Good morning, Matt.
We wish we had an off button, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Or just replace, just go here. Here's a new box. Spring cleaning. Let's get them all out and let's replace them all at once. What do you think?
About I'm talking with Betsy in the comments about what we resist persists.
Oh.
I was just thinking about, like, the mind doesn't have an off button, so it's always there. But at the same time, being present, I think, might help clean out all that. Like, it might give us time to put our mind on the shelf and say, Betsy was saying nature's in perfect harmony. We tend to believe we are better than nature, but we're just a part of it. Yeah.
So it's perception. It's awareness.
Yeah.
It's having a plan to, you know what? It even goes further than that. It goes to making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to making a decision that I am not going to get caught up in those negative thoughts. How does that happen? Well, as Betsy says, I have a choice every moment. That's one way to look at it, right? Is that here's part of the plan. Let me be mindful of what those thoughts actually are.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give you the visual. You want the visual? You see that thought, you get out that dustpan and that broom and bam, it's gone. Sweep that sucker out. Visualize it. That's how I when I read this
Yeah.
book, when I read the chapter, you can go, it's chapter 3. It's actually called Clear the Cobwebs from Your Thinking. And I saw that line and I started reading it and I was like, that's it exactly. It is exactly like that. It's so refreshing. Honestly, it's very freeing to be able to say, there you are. I just swept you out. You cobweb you and you've got all this stuck in you. Boom, you're gone. You're gone. What are you replaced with? You're replaced with Matt. You're replaced with Betsy. You're replaced with Ron. You know, if it's somebody that I'm resenting, I can get them out and replace them with people like you who are moving forward and trying to get better. I think it can be that simple. What do you think?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, it's almost like this thing's always generating thoughts up here, and we have the choice to like identify with those thoughts that are coming out. And if we identify with the cobweb thoughts, right, then that's how we're going to act. And then like a clean house is a clean mind. So there are some other thoughts like that. Like if you're scattered, you'll see evidence of it.
Nope. Nope. I beg to differ, and I will beg all day long. Although I understand why you're going to that analogy. It just doesn't really work for me. Can you tell I am not every once in a while, about once a year, actually, spring cleaning time, I hire a crew to come in. They just come in and go top to bottom, get the cobwebs out of here, and maybe every 3 to 4 months I'll get somebody come in for a couple hours and keep it that way. Just
Yeah, I've read some Eckhart Tolle. I really enjoy.
I've not read them. I've not read them, but if he makes sense to you, and I like the way Betsy put it, is that he makes sense to her. Napoleon Hill makes sense to me. You know, Tony Robbins makes sense. Bob Proctor makes sense. Jim Rohn makes sense. Who doesn't make sense to me? Yogi Berra doesn't make sense to me. There are some that you don't make sense to me. The language that they use, that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So
maybe that's just the perspective. If we just have to find what clicks.
Thank goodness there's so many different options available to us, right? I mean, so thank goodness, you know, if we didn't have all that, boy, not only would it be a boring world, but I'd be stuck, because if I were stuck with trying to figure out the language of somebody I don't understand, I'd be so frustrated I wouldn't do it, and I'd be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So does spring cleaning make sense to you, especially for accurate thinking? Because I put accurate thinking in there because I think that really those cobwebs truly do clutter our mind and have a negative impact on the way we make decisions, how we see the world. It's always through that lens or filter that's kind of dirty with the negative stuff. Let's get some Windex and clean it.
Cobwebs build in things that we don't use too. Something sits there forever and we don't use it. And that's a little bit of a different analogy.
Wait a minute. Okay, you just implied we're not using our mind. Okay.
No. I'm not using our mind.
It's just sitting there.
Spring cleaning is, I mean, in terms of our minds, it's something that should be going on in the present moment all the time. It's not something that should only happen certain days or certain weeks or certain months. It should be
I fully agree. I think it's a daily thing. I truly believe it's a daily thing, but I also think that we sometimes we may have higher expectations of our abilities.
Yeah.
So we get frustrated. I know I get frustrated when I'm practicing something and it just isn't happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm practicing the meditation and I'm not calm. I'm practicing the cleaning out, that self-awareness, and it's not going away, right? So what I think is there's other tools and there's people, you know?
Yeah.
Remember you were a part of my sharing when there was a time I was practicing everything I knew from books, from other people sharing what they did to get that committee that gathers every time I'm about to start something new. This committee, the committee's in session, and the committee is made up of all these people over the years, and they're cobwebs, trust me. It's a huge cobweb. And they're around the conference table, and every single one of them are bringing up every possible negative reason why I can't, and increasing my anxiety. As my anxiety increases and my fear increases, they're getting louder. And what ends up happening is I convince myself not to start something. I have already had the entire conversation with myself and the committee and went from beginning to end and proved that I failed without talking to anybody, proved that it was not going to work, so nothing got started. I literally had to have somebody else give me an exercise that helped me to recognize each one of those people. And each one is a cobweb. In this analogy, each one was a cobweb. Yeah. I recognized each one. I identified who they were. I fired them, and I replaced them with individuals in my current network and inner circle that when I start something new, I still have a little bit of anxiety, but what comes into the head now is these people who say, I think you got this. I think that if you think a little bit more and outline this, you're going to be okay. I think if you contact a friend, you're going to, sound it out. It's ready to be sounded out. So go, I replaced them. But I had to have, I was practicing all sorts of things. And it just wouldn't, I was so frustrated. It just wouldn't go away. Well, then it did. So keep at it. That's the secret. That's the secret, right? Keep at it.
Yeah, it's about like enrolling those positive thoughts, because you can take the action and not necessarily know what will happen. But if you're only choosing the negative thoughts that this isn't going to work, you're never going to begin.
Mm-hmm.
You said those negative people on the committee always stay on the committee, and you never start.
So those people on the committee, don't they also color it gray? Any new idea that comes through or opportunities that are presented. Here's an opportunity, and it's suddenly grayed by previous experiences. Got different people, but of course it's going to be exactly the same as what it was before. Yeah. Totally different crew involved, but it's going to be exactly the same. It's going to be a bad experience. It all comes in there, and that's all the stuff that we have to recognize that we are doing to ourselves. And I think that's the other key, is so many of us aren't seeing that it's actually me that's doing it to myself. Because when I can take ownership of that, then I can clean it out.
Addressing the problem, addressing that it is a cobweb issue is important.
Yeah.
Okay,
and then that clears the... Okay, dear. You're awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, you clean it out, right? Get out the Windex, get out the rag, clean it out. Now that's it. Now you're seeing more clearly, more accurately, actually what's in front of you, and that can make you more mindful too if you do it on purpose. Good stuff.
We create our life and our story every day. Yes, we do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff if you can grasp it and start putting it to use. One of the most freeing things that I ever came across and took to heart was there came a moment I was tired of what are you going to do when you grow up? What are you going to be when you grow up? And it was always in the context of what work are you going to do? And I never took it in the context of who are you going to create? And that you have the power to create yourself. That you don't have to be molded by everybody else. It's not a requirement. And yet, until I was told that, I didn't see it. And now that I see it, I get frustrated with myself because it's not happening fast enough. And now that I get frustrated with myself because I got stuck in the negative mental attitude, fighting it, but I still felt stuck. So my timetable, right? my timetable was what was tripping me up. Expectations. I wasn't being mindful. I was getting stuck in the cobwebs. They were coloring everything gray. Ugh. Anyway, that's where I'm coming from. Okay, spring cleaning. It's time to get out the broom. It's the only time you're going to hear me say this. Honest to God, I swear it is the only time you will hear me say this. She who hires other people to clean the house, which, by the way, I do need to sell some more stuff because it is spring cleaning, and I'd like to have a crew come in and clean, just so you know. So anyway, having said that, get out the dustpan, get out the broom, look at those cobwebs. Self-talk, who are you resenting right now? You know, who are you resenting? Who are you angry at? You know, put it in perspective. What happened yesterday that's stuck in the head and it won't go away? What happened 20 years ago? What's coloring gray your perception right now? Sweep it out. Clean it out now. That's it. It's gone. Well, prepare yourself. Set yourself up for success in that positive mental attitude. So here's what can trip some people up. Why? Because my own experience here is that positive mental attitude. People forget the mental part. You just think it's a positive attitude and the airy fairy, all is well. You know, I'm happy because I say I am. I'm positive things are going to go well today. You know, and self-talk that really doesn't mean anything. Because they forget that it's the mental attitude and that you're using it to get rid of the negative, to replace it. Because if that's where you are and it's not working and we're filled with negative, that's my experience. So clean it out. And then we have the question, Betsy, do you ever get stuck and want to stay in it? You know what's happening and you stay in it anyway? Yes. Mm-hmm. There's a perverse pleasure in being miserable at times. I admit to it. And I look at it as a perverse pleasure there. Maybe it's because it's comfortable. Maybe it's because I know what it's like. And I can, you know, I don't have to stretch myself. There's a lazy, I don't know. You know, I don't have all the answers on that one for myself, but yeah. Sometimes you just get stuck and want to stay in it. Maybe it is because it's just too much work to get it out of the way. It's too big. You know, it's a big piece of furniture. It's not just a cobweb. So how about we take a look at it and chunk it down so it is a cobweb, so it is manageable. We can get rid of it. Turn it into something we can have power over. Oh, and the husband is saying, move on and stop, etc. So funny. Oh, yeah. You know, hurry up and wait. That's always fun. So a big shout out and hello. We've got some new people coming through. We've got Laura. It's been a while since I've seen you. What a pleasure to see you again. Cindy, nice to see you. Anne, so great to have you with us. Gail, my friend Gail, big hugs to you. So good to see you. Cheryl, welcome this morning. We're talking about spring cleaning of the mind. Clear that out. I'm equating it to all the stuff that's stuck in our head that's holding us back are cobwebs. And if you can recognize each one of them as a cobweb and commit to cleaning it out each day that they pop up and replace it with something better, then we've got a good day started, right? Anybody's welcome to jump into the seat and talk about their own spring cleaning. There's a question of who came up with spring cleaning anyway. Well, you know, after months and months of being holed up in a house, all the dust and the ick, right? Open the windows, air it out. That's all we're doing. Clean it out, air it out. Get some, oh gosh, get some new furniture. You know, let's go. For some people, let's go shopping. for new thoughts. How's that? And when you practice this and you're reminded of it and practice it and reminded of it, it does get easier. And then it's, then there comes a time when we look back and we're able to see our progress. That's been my experience, is that I can't often see the growth while I'm in it. It is got to look back, compare myself to who I was last week, who I was 3 weeks ago, who I was 3 months ago, who I was, oh my gosh, who was I when I first started Morning Mindset? I was asking for every one of you to come in and help me get out of that survival mode, because that's where I was. I was stuck and I wasn't happy being there. I'd been trying all sorts of other things, and I was willing to do whatever's necessary. So I took a chance that people would join me on a blab at 8 o'clock in the morning to talk about Think and Grow Rich. Literally read the book, and I read it, didn't I? I read it every single morning. I read a section we discussed, and did it 3 times. So we did that the first time. The second time, it became more of refer to it with sections, similar to what I'm doing here. Here's the PDF. Go check it out. You can click the link in the live box there and see your own copy. I'm on page 41 of the book. Did that, and then the third time through basically was taking statements and using that as, but it was still all of that started in August of 2015, every weekday morning. And by gosh, you guys showed up, and I practiced this, and sometimes it didn't make sense, but it didn't matter. Sometimes I'd read it and it didn't matter that it didn't make sense. I was doing it. Action always conquers. It just always does. So I knew that, right? And you guys showed up. And so I got through that. As frustrating as it was, it didn't happen quickly enough sometimes, but I got through that. And then changed it up a bit. And now it's changed up a bit more. Still on Napoleon Hill, because you just can't beat Napoleon Hill. But it was action that did it. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. You have to begin. Have to start someplace. You know? I mean, just flat out, you have to start someplace. Why not start here? Get the book yourself. Yeah. Anybody who hadn't seen this, this is my book. It was printed in 1960. This is 1969 version. Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. There's a PDF. Get it yourself. Read a little bit. Talk about it. Come here into Morning Mindset Cafe. Got a new tool now, right? Now you have a couple of tools in that box that you can grab at any time to clean those cobwebs. You can come in here, you can get into the discussion into the site, and I'm going to hit that in just a second because great stuff's being shared there. You can come into the live stream and just, put me on mute and you go. Let's talk about you doing your spring cleaning and what that looks like. What does action look like to you, right? All right, so straight out of the book, just so you know, this is not all me. I share my own stuff, but what are mental cobwebs? Negatives. You got feelings, emotions, passions, habits, beliefs, and prejudices, biases. That immediate, oh no. Anytime you say, oh no, needs to take a look at it. Sometimes you got to keep those. I know that. But I'm talking about the mental cobwebs that are coloring everything gray, so you're not moving forward. Seeing only the mote in the other fellow's eyes. How's that for biblical? What does that mean? That means the only thing I'm able to see is point my finger at you to point out how bad you are. Or you were talking about great stuff, but that one word you used, you're awful, right? Your attitude stinks and it's getting in my way. You aren't doing what I think you should be doing. Yeah, well, guess what? When I do that, there's 3 fingers pointing right back at me. Arguments and misunderstandings due to semantic difficulties. How's that one? What does that mean? That's one thing. Makes you think. He uses actual language and good vocabulary here. Arguments and misunderstandings due to semantic difficulties. I'm not understanding the language you're using. And that happens. We're speaking English. I just spoke English to you, and some don't get that. They don't understand those words. Oh. And then there is always, in verbal communication, there's always, don't listen to what we're saying, listen to how we're saying it. That oftentimes is the key. False conclusions resulting from false premises. You're hearing somebody that isn't giving you all the facts. So therefore, you're walking away with a conclusion that's half-baked, to be honest with you. I love this. The idea, just the idea, think about this for a second, that necessity forces dishonesty. Not cool. I have to lie to get through this. I have to lie to myself and to you. I have to remove any level of integrity in order to get by. I'm telling you right now, that truly is, all of this actually is very short-term thinking and is so detrimental. You're not going to get anywhere. Internally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, you're not going to get anywhere. Fear. Now, this one's interesting. Fear that it is sacrilegious to use the powers of your mind. I don't understand that one because I'm a believer in the mind. But it's negative mental attitude. You are what you think. Your thoughts are evaluated by whether your attitude is positive or negative. Let's keep it simple. Are you a good person? That's straight from the book. Are you a good person? If you can answer yes, then you have good thoughts. We don't have to overcomplicate this. Wealthy? Are your thoughts of riches? Are you evil? Your thoughts are evil. Psychosomatically ill? You think yourself into being sick. So the idea here is, honestly, we're not saying that you can't think negative stuff. What we're saying is you want to keep reason and emotion in proper balance, especially when it's time to make a decision. There is a proper balance to things. So over in the discussion area, yes, Napoleon Hill is always a winner. I agree, Gail. Oh my goodness, she's Gail. I'm copying you. I'm going to do Abundance Now by Lisa Nichols. Oh, I love Lisa Nichols. And Power of Broke by Damon John. Would love to hear more about that later. The Power of Broke. I'm not familiar with that. Start someplace. Yes. I love what Laura said is that, let's go shop. It's like the feast before Easter. Interesting. Gail, let's go shopping for new thoughts. Absolutely. Why not? Here's a book. No. Do it on purpose. Removing judgment is a challenge for me. Okay, I'm not saying remove judgment. I believe that judgment matters. I believe that's through judgment I determine and discern who I'm going to keep with me, who I'm going to walk away from, who I'm going to help, who I'm going to work with. And that's interesting. Judging what others do or say, it's the only thing I have to go by. So here's this is truly how I think and how I see things. I am going to judge you by your actions and by your words. And I am going to determine within that judgment, if it's the first time I'm meeting you, first impression, whether or not I want to give you a second chance if my initial response to you is negative. I look at it this way. Your behavior and your words are the sign on the back for me to read to determine whether or not I want you in my life in some capacity. I mean, we have people always saying, don't judge a book by its cover. And that's true. And what that means is the image that you're presenting to me, judging just by image, by the clothing or makeup that you're wearing, is can be detrimental to you building your network and increasing your connections with people. Okay, that's just the cover. So I'm just seeing like a magazine picture, right? That's all I'm saying. I can describe to you right now. There's a gal that shoots pool. She is awesome, but she dresses in I want you to think Morticia from the Addams Family, and goth makeup, and her her bag for her cue stick is shaped like a coffin, and she has tattoos all over. That's just an image. That's the cover. Her behavior and what she says, she's adorable. She is one of the nicest gals you would ever want to meet. She says the nicest things. She's helpful. She is the first person to tell you if there's something wrong with your shot. If she sees that it might be helpful, she'll ask, I'm going to go get some water. You want some? Well, she shares positive things with other people. I like having her around. See, I judged her by her behavior and her words, not by the image. That's how I discern the difference. So that's my view. Anybody want to jump in? I've got just a few more minutes. Today is Wednesday, so it's always cut short slightly because I have a professional networking meeting that I host. I'll post the link to that as soon as I get it. You all are invited to join us, and that is where you, as a professional business owner or service provider, whatever it is, whatever you're selling, that's where you need to go in order to meet people that you can introduce yourself to. Share contact information. We're going to hear an excellent, I can tell you right now, I'm getting the link right now, so hang tight here. The presentation we have today, I think you're going to like. Yes, it's online, Gail. Here's the Zoom room link. Normally you have to register to get the link, but once you're on, we'll tell you, go to the website to register, networklivevirtually.com, and register to get updates. So today, who do we have? You're going to like this. I think you're going to like this. We have a presentation by Joanna Peters, how to surround yourself with the right people for your business. Now, how cool is that? Here we are talking about spring cleaning and replacing the bad with the good. You can join me at 9 o'clock and hear Joanna Peters for about 20 minutes and Q&A afterwards, and learn how to surround yourself with the right people. The kinds of people you need to have around you to suit your personality, how to build relationships that motivate and inspire you. Hey, I'm looking forward to this. So that's today. It's free. Yeah, it's free. I'll open the room up at 5 minutes till the top of the hour. And actually, you can get in there before I open it up. But so I invite everybody here to join us there. Yes, it'd be nice if you were camera ready. So anyway, having said all that, spring cleaning. Anybody want to jump in for the last 5 minutes or so and share your thoughts on spring cleaning of the mind? Clear it out. Open the windows. Think something different. Shake yourself up. Get that negative out of there. Recognize it. Bring it out into the light so that it actually looks like a cobweb rather than the big looming monster sometimes that we have up there. Replace it with something else. Gail, you're adorable. She says, okay, I'm coming to that. Got to get my face together, getting a workout in. You know, I'm impressed you're getting a workout in. It is at 9 o'clock Eastern time every Wednesday. Yes. Joanna Peters is from across the pond, and she's pretty darn terrific. Okay, Betsy, so glad. So glad you were here. Go walk that dog, clear that mind, right? Get yourself going for the day. Okay, Gail, see you in a few. Look forward to seeing you there. I invite everybody in here to join us at the Network Live virtually meeting that begins in 13 minutes. I also invite you to go check out the PDF. And it was on page 41 where I got some of these thoughts about what are cobwebs? What are they? And don't go, don't get into that cycle and that loop of it's got to be deeper and it's got to be more than just sweeping it out and replacing it with something positive. Because honestly, sometimes it is that simple and it is that easy. Just recognizing that, it's what I do. Did you really just think that? Wow, not cool. That's not who you want to be. Okay, go on. Deeper stuff, that's what life coaches are for. That's what, friends are for. That's what trusted advisors and mentors. And sometimes you might have to get professional help, and that's cool. Whatever it takes. But be committed. How's that? Be committed to cleaning out those cobwebs and clear your mind. And let's get into some successful thinking, some positive mental attitude. Set yourself up for success there, up here. Set yourself up for success up there. I'm glad you liked the cobweb image, Cindy. I did too. I liked it when I read it in a book. I thought, yeah, this is pretty cool. So, final questions from anybody? Comments? Cindy, my friend from Kentucky. Good to see you. I can't keep the room open today or else I'd be asking you about the lambs on the farm. So adorable. See, it's spring, right? All the baby animals are out now, especially those that have livestock of any sort. All right. Final comments that you would like to have as part of the recording. Final thoughts. So glad you were here. Okay, then. Thank you for joining me in the live stream. Thank you for the comments. Fabulous participation and contributions to the discussion. Thank you for watching the replay. I appreciate you hanging with us this long. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.